Hello and welcome dear viewers. Today I'll talk about some basic principles and rules of Nadi Jyotish. If you have not subscribed to my channel, then please do subscribe. Nadi Jyotish, here I'm talking about Bhrigu Nandi Nadi. So what are some basic rules and principles? The first rule is that Jupiter is the Jiva Karak. Jupiter is the Karaka of the Jiva. Jiva means the native. Why? Because Jupiter is the Karaka of life-giving force or oxygen. Without oxygen, we cannot live. So Jupiter is the Karaka of Pranvayu, it is called. That is why Jupiter is the Karaka of the Jiva. He is called Jiva Karaka. Jupiter is called Jiva Karaka. Now, whether it is a chart of a male or female, Jupiter should be considered to be the Jiva Karaka. Suppose Jupiter is sitting in the 4th house, then we will consider the 4th house to be the 1st house because Jupiter is sitting there, Jiva is sitting there. Jiva means the living being, Jiva means a living being. So it will be considered to be the 1st house, we will consider that to be the 1st house. Jupiter stays in one sign, one zodiac sign for 1 year. So that means within 12 years Jupiter will cross all the 12 signs. That means Jupiter will stay in one house for 12 years. Then Jupiter will go to the next house. Yes, one house 12 years, then next 12 years another house, then third house another 12 years, like that. That is we consider that to be Jupiter's progression. This progression helps us to predict events in the life of the native. If Jupiter is crossing over Mercury, then definitely you will go towards education. Jupiter is crossing over say Rahu, then you may have health problems, or there may be a sense of loss of direction, or you may be misguided and all. If Jupiter is crossing over Rahu, all these things, or health problems also are seen if it is crossing over Rahu. Then also we consider the transit of planets in space. That is also considered. On a particular day or at a particular given time, in which sign which planet is. The actual transit of planets, that is also considered. That is also superimposed upon Jupiter's progression and events are predicted. Now the question comes, is Lagna important? What about the concept of Lagna, which is there in Parashari Jyotish and in Jyotish in general? Yes. Now there is a difference of opinion regarding this. I believe that Lagna is important, and there are so many Nadi Jyotishis also, the exponents, who also believe that yes, Lagna should be considered. Lagna is the 1st house. Jupiter, wherever Jupiter is staying, that also we will consider that to be the 1st house, and we will consider Jupiter's progression from there. But we cannot ignore the importance of Lagna, because Lagna, you go to the Kalpurush Kundli, we can never forget the significations of the Kalpurush Kundli, and the Kalpurush Kundli always needs to be superimposed upon the birth chart, whoever that birth chart belongs to. The Kalpurush Kundli has to be superimposed upon that. Then in the 1st house of the Kalpurush Kundli, the Karaka of the Deha or body is Mars. Mars is the significator of body, and Mars is the lord of the 1st house in the Kalpurush Kundli. He is the Swami, Lord, and the Karaka of the 1st house actually. The Karaka of the significator of the 1st house in the Kalpurush Kundli is Sun or Surya. Sun is the significator of the 1st house in the Kalpurush Kundli. Why? Because Sun is the significator of our soul, spirit. Now, so our body, Mars is the lord of the 1st house, so body is given by Mars also, and Jupiter is the Sun is the significator of soul. So 1st house actually signifies our body and soul and the birth of the native. Why? Because at the time of your birth, which sign was rising in the eastern horizon, that is your Lagna Rashi. That is the sign in which you were born. So that is the sign in which you were born. That is called ascendant, yes. So ascendant, and the ascendant lord, which is also called the Lagna lord, we cannot ignore the importance of the ascendant lord. So that is why I believe that yes, Lagna should be considered. And also suppose your ascendant lord, okay, ascendant lord is, suppose you have number 6 here, then your ascendant is Virgo and your ascendant lord will be Mercury. Then Mercury, wherever Mercury is placed in your chart, in whichever condition, Mercury will always influence your life in a big way, because Mercury is the ascendant lord. Ascendant lord will definitely have a say in your life. Then also suppose you are a Virgo ascendant, then we also have to check, suppose you want to go for spiritual knowledge, or you want to go for occult studies, or you want to study astrology, for example. Then we have to see whether Saturn, because why? Because in Nadi Jyotish, Saturn is considered to be Karma Karak, and Saturn is generally considered to be the Karaka of profession in Jyotish. Whether Saturn has any relation with the 8th lord or the 12th lord, that is very important. If you want to go for any kind of spiritual study, if you want to acquire spiritual knowledge, if you want to go into astrology, and if you want to do some research, then the ascendant lord must have some connection, the Lagna lord or ascendant lord must have some connection with the 8th lord or 8th house, or with the 12th lord or 12th house. So that is why, how can we ignore the importance of the ascendant or ascendant lord? Yes. Now let us go to another point in Nadi Jyotish. Saturn. Saturn is considered to be the Karaka of profession, Mercury the Karaka of education, and also Venus is considered to be the Karaka or significator of marriage, and also wealth. Okay. Now Jupiter is also the Karaka for prosperity and well-being, knowledge, wisdom. Okay. Now I told you about Jupiter. It stays, how long it stays in one sign? Saturn stays in one sign for 2.5 years. In one sign, Saturn will stay for 2.5 years in one sign, and that is why it will require 30 years to cross all the 12 signs, to make a full circle, full round, full progression of all the signs, progression across all the signs. For one full progression, Saturn will require 30 years. That means Saturn stays in one house for 30 years. Rahu or Ketu, they stay in one house, both Rahu and Ketu, they stay in one house for 18 years. Why? Because they stay in one sign for 1.5 years. That is why they stay in one house for 18 years, each of them. Now, degrees. In Nadi Jyotish, degrees are very important. We have to consider the degrees. Suppose in the 9th house of your chart, there is a conjunction between Mercury and Mars. Mars and Mercury conjunction. Suppose Mars is at 5 degrees, Mercury is at 10 degrees. That means we believe here in Nadi Jyotish that Mars is of a lower degree, 5 degree. So Mars is now going towards Mercury, and Mars wants to acquire the qualities of Mercury. It is moving towards Mercury, and Mercury is at 10 degrees. So Mercury is at a higher degree. So Mercury has already absorbed all the qualities of Mars. Mercury has imbibed, Mercury already is endowed with all the qualities of Mars. So that is why degree is important. Then also the direction that is denoted by the signs, that is very important in Nadi Jyotish. What directions? Okay. Now these directions depend upon the elements of the signs. We know that all the 12 zodiac signs, they are divided into 4 types depending on the elements. What are those 4 types of signs? Air signs, water signs, fire signs, and air, water, fire, and earth signs. Earth. Okay. Now, suppose 1, 5, 9 fire signs, 2, 6, 10 earth signs, 3, 7, 11 air signs, and 4, 8, 12 water signs. Air signs, the zodiac signs which are air signs, they are believed to be in the west direction. Air signs are believed to be in the west direction. Fire signs are believed to be in the east direction. Similarly, earth signs are believed to be in the south direction, and water signs are believed to be in the north direction. These directions are fixed. Now, suppose you have planets in 159. Suppose you have Jupiter, Mars and Sun in 159 signs respectively. And 159, these signs, they are the signs which are of the direction of the east direction. So in Nadi Jyotish we will believe that these three planets, they are also in some sort of conjunction because their direction is same. So they are in some sort of conjunction. And 159 is also considered to be the trines. Yes, they are in trine to each other. So definitely they will have the trinal aspect, and they are also believed to be in some sort of conjunction because the direction is same. If the direction is opposite, one you have planets in say one planet is in say Virgo, the direction is south. Another planet is in Cancer, the direction is north. Then those two planets, they will be mutually opposite to each other. There will be a mutual aspect. That is, a seventh aspect will be there. Because why? Because the signs are in the opposite direction, the zodiac signs in which the planets are placed. So that also we consider in Nadi Jyotish. I will explain to you. I'll talk about the aspects in details in some other video. Now also in Nadi Jyotish, what are the aspects we take? This is another important principle. In Nadi Jyotish, suppose a planet is placed here, say in the first house. Then what kind of aspects the planet will have? Where is it going to aspect? So it will aspect, if it is in the first house, it will aspect the first house, because if a planet is sitting in the first house, then they will be in conjunction, and there also we consider that there will be full aspect. So if it is in the first house, the planet, then there will be first aspect. Then we consider in Nadi Jyotish second aspect, we consider third aspect, we consider fifth aspect, seventh aspect, ninth aspect, 11th aspect and 12th aspect. These aspects we consider. I have also seen that the aspects which are there in Parashari Jyotish, they also, that is my personal opinion, very personal, that the aspects which are there in Parashari Jyotish, they also should be considered. That is, I believe, and I consider them while analyzing any chart. That is, Mars has 4th, 7th and 8th aspect. 7th is already there. So Mars's 4th aspect and 8th aspect, I even consider them. And then Saturn has 3rd, 7th and 10th aspects. 7th is already there, 3rd is already there in Nadi Jyotish. So Saturn's 10th aspect, I consider Saturn's 10th aspect. And Jupiter has 5th, 7th, 9th, which is already there in Nadi Jyotish. And Rahu, Ketu, they have 5th and 9th aspect, definitely even 7th aspect. But only one thing we have to remember, that Rahu, Ketu, they do not aspect each other. That is also one important point that we have to remember in Nadi Jyotish, or that's what we believe, that Rahu and Ketu, they never aspect each other. They will aspect some other planet who is sitting 7th from them, and they have a 5th and 9th, they will have all other aspects which I have discussed. In Nadi Jyotish, it is believed that each planet has all these aspects: 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 5th, 7th, 11th, 12th, 9th also, sorry. 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 5th, 7th, 9th, 11th and 12th. So these aspects all planets will have. So friends, that's what I wanted to discuss in brief with you. Now please, if you have not subscribed to my channel, then do subscribe. Thank you so much.